The Alpine figures for the Semovente project are finished, so let's get to it. These are the figures I just finished painting and weathering, still hot and straight from the oven. Work on them has been quite intense because these resin figures come with endless details and I think they deserve special attention. As you can see on this Fallschirm Jagger, straps and stuff go all around the figure and you need good eyes for all that intensive detail painting. You won't do it in a hurry, you need time and you want to do it because you like the process. If you want an immediate result, you will get stressed and you will end up losing your mojo. Same thing here. The devil is in the details. Each individual element, like this helmet for example, has received the right amount of work and attention. But if you sum up all the time invested, the whole thing can be pointless. It wouldn't be worth trying. We do this thing because we enjoy our time at the bench. We don't need pressure or schedules. The Semovente driver presented a different challenge. As you can see, the figure doesn't carry so many elements and colorful equipment. So here we used many different shades of gray to avoid monotony. This is the Italian officer and it was relatively easier to paint than the previous ones. It's got many leather elements which have simple painting mechanics behind. Okay, let's check these mechanics and how they turned out. Right, the trouble of buying some of the stuff from second-hand sources knocked at the door with untimely suddenness. The door knocking part was carried out with Italian driver's head, because his right arm had been missing from a start. So I had to cannibalize a plastic figure and transplant an arm in Frankenstein fashion for our driver, who needed some further rehabilitation. I had to adapt the leather jacket shape and folds with white clay. I hadn't expected to do any scratch work with this kind of figures, but if you are a dedicated modeler, you do what you have to do with no whining and complaining. Fortunately, the other Fallschirm Jagger had all his limbs in the same box set. How come I hadn't noticed before with the other figure? The review is up on part 1 and the driver's arm is clearly missing if you watch the video. Anyway, here you have him, ready to get to Cairo with a Semovente or a stolen bike. Apparently there is a story about them moving around on stolen British trucks. Alright, this is his partner in crime. Fortunately, this parachutist and Italian officer you will see later are brand new and straight from the model shop. So again, he has all his legs and arms and that's pretty cool because oh my, they are so freaking expensive. Nevertheless, the pose with all that stuff is impressive, a very nice resin figure. And this is the Italian officer, which was not included on the descriptions of the project in part 1. It was a last minute acquisition. As you can see, it looks pretty cool as well, and it will complement the diorama scene I have in my missing head. The 4 figures are introduced into the wine world in order to get some color and spirit. Okay, I'm going to work all along the painting progress respecting the zenithal light effect I have created on the priming phase using gray for lights and black for shadows. I've used the word respect because I don't want to cover the effect with thick layers of paint. From this moment onwards, I've been using the transpirator product here to keep the effect and above all to avoid paint buildup, which can end covering up all those marvelous details in the sculptures. The technique I use follows this logic: apply the base color, add shadows, and finally enhance details with lights. The last part can be done with a dry brush technique if you feel so compelled. Here you can see both parachutists. They have lights and shadows in sun yellow tones, but in fact the real base is still there with a black and grey primer layer. The same thing was done with the AFV driver. In this case I used 3 shades of grey, no need for more. I started attacking the flesh transparencies using the darker tone as a base for all the rest. Here you have another character. It may look excessive, but it's effective. Right, what you see here is the effect of using the transparency fluid, allowing the base color show through successive lighter flesh layers. Here you can see the completed effect. It looks a bit like living flesh with a healthy blood flow below the skin. This part is tricky because you have to start concentrating your attention on equipment endless details, and reaching hidden corners can be a bit difficult. Here you have an example. That helmet required a different dark yellow tone with dark green scratches, plus all the goggles details. The final pinwash has been added to give all those details a further depth, and we have almost completed it. We have just to dab a bit of gunmetal pigment on metal objects and we will be done. On the next update, I hope the diorama will be completed. Farewell till then, I'm leaving you now with a few more pictures. Cheers and keep on modeling, have fun!